Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today with the Friday Review, one of my favorite shows of the week to host. And that is because I get to talk about all things wellness, fitness, anti-aging, longevity research, and so much more. So this is, again, for someone that gets to do what they love every single day, the Friday Review is definitely the epitome of that because it's all over the map. And so what I always like to do if you're new to the show is bring you two research studies that I feel that you need to know about. So it's either for you or someone in your community, your family, like they're going to benefit from it. So I always bring you that. I try to bring you a book review. I read 2-3 books a week still to this day. A lot of it sometimes is research papers lately because I'm developing a new course that I'll talk more about in the future, and for IHPs as well, a certain certification. But that doesn't stop me again from really just getting inspiration and reading a lot of my colleagues' books, which I'm here to support them. I'm here to learn from them and share ideas. And I'll actually be sharing ideas most likely this March with one of the authors of the book, my book recommendation here today. So that'll be fun, a lot of fun. And then I always give you a product review of the week. And the product review could be anything, health tech, it could be new lab tests, it could be literally anything that I feel is going to benefit you from a wellness, a body transformation, a mindset, or in this case, early detection. So you're going to want to check that out for sure. But before we get into all of those, I always love to be able to update you as to what is going on. For me, my biggest thing was making sure that we started the year strong, that we got people set up, maybe who had never heard of before or had never done before a functional medicine detox. So that was a huge success. We had more people than ever join the free group, cabralsupportgroup.com, ask questions, get support. Whether they completed their functional medicine or detox or not is really up to them. But we're here to support them no matter what. So that grew by a few thousand people, which was amazing to see because, again, it's all free and it's just there to point you in the right direction. I mean, that's really what it's all about. A lot like the Ask Cabral on the weekend house calls. Okay, but what we also wanted to do was support people who maybe didn't get in their New Year's detox in time. So if you're starting in February, you can join that group at any time. And it's not just for the detox, but please feel free to ask questions. If you're confused about directions, instructions, or whatever it might be, I just want to let you know it doesn't matter whether it's January or it's whatever month it may be. We're there to support you each and every day inside of cabralsupportgroup.com. So appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of this community, and we'll chat with you soon inside of that. What is going on this week over at EquiLife? Well, we have created a brand new vitamin D. Now, again, vitamin D is nothing fancy, so I don't want you to think that this is some wild new formula. It is the same absorbable vitamin D3 that has been clinically proven to work. I'm going to be sharing with you even more studies next week. I didn't want to tie them to this podcast because I don't want people to think that we're promoting the vitamin D. The vitamin D is literally free. So you can go to Cabral, you can go to stephencabral.com/shop, and we'll be giving away our new 1 to 2 month supply of vitamin D. It's in a smaller bottle. It makes more sense. It's a little less expensive, and you can use it now over 1 to 2 months instead of there being like 500 drops. There's an actual normal amount of drops in there that you're able to use. And so the nice thing is with this one, we made it in a way that you could actually dose it for children as well. So since the 1,000 micrograms, I believe, is 2 drops. If you wanted 500 IUs, you could just use 1 drop for children. So most people, again, if you want to make this easy, they need about 4,000 IUs, 2,000 to 4,000 IUs for an adult, and about 500 to 1,000 IUs for a child, really depending on their weight. And most people do it by about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. So again, feel free to head on over to stephencabral.com/shop. Pick up your free bottle. And when we do our giveaways, we typically hold aside 500 bottles and we give those away completely free with all qualifying orders. And we ship to 27 countries all around the world. So check it out. Grab your free bottle while supplies last. All right, podcast recap for the week. Monday's show, I really enjoyed Monday's show. There were only two paths in life. And I've just realized more and more in my life, there's a lot of people dealing with some serious mental health-based issues. And they're having a really challenging time, especially over the last few years, of trying to figure out what is normal now. What does life look like? Where should they be headed in? They've tried so many different things. Why are they still not well? So I would love for you to check out that show. It meant a lot to me. And it was really based on my Sunday Rewind email a couple weeks back. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. That's 2558, StephenCabral.com/2558. And for all previous podcasts, head on over to StephenCabral.com/podcasts. Tuesday's show was why doctors and nurses are leaving medicine. That was a serious show. That was a show that we need to understand because we can't let conventional medicine also fall by the wayside. We need good people working in conventional medicine for acute-based care, right? Life-saving-based measures, really important. We cannot have medicine taken over by the robots, right? We need real people. Wednesday's show was small. Should you have a small daily cheat meal or a one-time a week big cheat meal? So little cheats every day, a couple cookies, right? Or one big pasta, bread, alcohol once a week. So check out that show and let me know what you think. And then yesterday's show is twice a week fasting schedule, how to create your own twice a week fasting schedule. And does that make sense for you? And I think I'll talk about it more today in the book review. All right, so product review of the week, before we get to that book review, it's a company called Grail. It's been around for some time, but it's gotten much, much better. So I literally remember talking about this lab test. It's going back now. Let's say 2000 and I want to say 16, 17, somewhere right around there. I was talking about it. I was at the University of Miami for an inaugural event for their University of Miami medicine, new building launch. I was there with geneticists, some really amazing people. And so I was hearing about this test even back then. Well, it's much better now, and it's very accurate. And so here's what it does. It's called the Gallery test, and it is a multi-cancer early detection test that looks at 50 plus different types of cancer as early as stage 1. That means before you even might be able to detect a tumor, this blood work test may be able to find cancer in your body so you could act on it faster from both a natural and conventional medicine standpoint, or just conventional or just natural, your choice. But here's what I wanted to share with you. So it's a blood work test. You would have to request this from your PCP. However, we know that most PCPs are not going to do this or know anything about it, which again, no disrespect, but that's just not their wheelhouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link up the website where you could apply as a patient to the Gallery test, and you may be able to order direct from them. All right, so I'm going to kind of cut out the middle person and get you a direct. All right, so let's go over it right now. It looks at adrenal, all different types of cancer. Adrenal, anus, it looks at eye-based, bile ducts, bladder, bone, breast cancer, cervix, colon, rectum, esophagus, gallbladder, GI, gastrointestinal. It looks at gestational-based neoplasms. It looks like kidneys, looks at the larynx, leukemia, liver, lung, lymphoma, melanomas. It looks at Merkel cell carcinomas, mesothelioma, nasal cavity, sinus-based cancer, nasopharynx, endocrine, oral cavity, ovary, fallopian tube. Let's see, pancreas. It looks at plasma cell, prostate, small intestine, penis, soft tissue, stomach, testes, ureter, pelvis, renal pelvis, uterus, vagina, and vulva. And so it's going to look at all of those and more, and it is $899. So it's not cheap. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is an inexpensive test, but you're literally looking at 50 plus different types of cancer years before they even may show up. So pretty impressive. I just wanted to let you know, again, that these things exist, because there's most likely no way that you might have an amazing PCP, and if you do, then stick with them. That's pretty fantastic. You probably would never even hear that there's a lab test right now that can look for cancer years before it really starts to grow. So pretty amazing. Looks at specific proteins from those cancers. as they circulate through the blood. All right, the book review of the week is called True Age. This was one of those half dozen books that I read at the start to the new year, or beginning before this new year. So this book's called Cutting Edge Research to Help Turn Back the Clock. True Age by Morgan Levine. And like I said, I believe she works at Yale University. I think she's a PhD. Yes, she is, PhD. And I believe she is developing a kind of real age, biological-based age test as well, or she's at least on the board for one of those companies, I believe. But I also believe that I will be meeting with her and chatting with her this March at Dr. Peter Diamandis conference. And so I look forward to that. I read the book, known a little bit about her work before, and it's an excellent book on anti-aging and longevity. So basically, I mean, it's a synopsis. It goes through what we know so far, the different types of testing to look at your biological age, and then it goes through what's the best diet, what's the best exercise, like what do we know to this day? And I just want to give you a couple excerpts because I've said this before. I did a show, it was, be careful of guru diets and gurus in general, because most of the experts, not all, but most of the experts, they agree on many of the same things because they're really looking at the research. Like they don't care who's right. Now I feel like, I hope that I'm in the category. I don't care who's right? I want to do what's right. And so essentially the diet, just kind of cut through the chase for some of this, is that they found that essentially a 95% plant-based diet is the way to go. Whether I like that or not, honestly, doesn't matter because I'm not going to give you something just because I prefer to eat more meat. Like I'm not going to say, oh, if you want to, you want to, but you can't say that that's the true longevity-based diet because all of these, Dr. David Sinclair, everyone's coming to the same conclusions, and that's because it's real research. And so, again, you might be able to live to 100 eating only meat all day long, but no one's proven that actually works. But we know all the longest lived people, and for specific reasons, are on more of a plant-based diet, okay? So it does mean that you can eat some meat or dairy. It looks like maybe 5 to 10% of your diet. So, okay, anyway, I just want to share that with you. It's not just about that. She talks about fasting, which we know is one of the cornerstones of longevity. And it could be, like I talked about this week, a twice-a-week fast diet. So check that out. Or daily intermittent fast diet. So again, please do check that out. So I won't go through the whole book. I'd love for you to check it out if you'd like to. I'm going to be using a lot of this research and much of the other research that I've done and I've seen in my own clinical practice in a new course and certification that I'll be coming out with in just about 3 to 4 weeks. So definitely stay tuned for that. Its abbreviation is HPH, and I'll be talking more about that in the future. So stay tuned. That's going to be a fun one. Okay, research for the week. The first one is on more bad science, more gurus talking about things online that I feel I always have to address because I have to give you the real, true, unbiased research on it. So lately, there's this really big name in the health biohacking-based space. And there's a lot of people in this space. And they're saying that how this nutritional supplement or extract, it's actually it's black pepper, right? So it's it's pepper from pepperine. And pepper is all natural, right? It's been used in Ayurvedic medicine. When I was over in India and I was in Sri Lanka, in the clinics there, we used pepper and many different pepper-based formulas with almost every kapha-based disorder that we were working with. Why? Cuts down on mucus, helps improve absorption, moves things through the bowels. It's a powerful antioxidant, cuts down on free radical damage. That's why it works. So there's a lot of clinical research behind it. And also the research back in the day showed that if you mixed black pepper or pepperine or bioperine, which is the extract, with something like turmeric, which is naturally just not as well absorbed, you enhance the absorption by something like 2,000%. And so people are like, oh, this is pretty amazing. But then, again, it's fringe level. It's just surface level people saying, well, there's a study saying that if you take bioperine or piperine, the pepper, that it can cause leaky gut and toxicity. And so I said, well, I've never heard that before. And I said, oh, wow. Well, I've used bioperine. I've used it myself. I need to check this out because all the research that I've seen on it has been really positive. And it was used in Ayurveda, and pepper's a natural food. So let me go check this out. So I check it out. I read the research they're pointing to, and I think you'll be able to come to the same conclusion in just a moment. That's why we have to be careful of hearing these things at surface value, that it punctures holes in people's intestines. Like, we have to be really careful with that. Okay, so the research was done on lab rats. I'm okay with that, by the way. Like, I'm okay with mouse rat-based research because you can derive a lot of information from that rather than just doing this on humans. But also, listen to the study. Okay, the study was done with 20 milligrams of piperine or bioperine per kilogram of body weight for the mouse. Okay, so I weigh about 76 kilos, about 76 kilograms. So that, for me, that would be about 1,520 milligrams of piperine. Just to put this in perspective, so 1,520 milligrams. Most bioperine or piperine-based supplements is like 5 to 10 milligrams. All right, so 5 to 10 milligrams, single digits, versus 1,520 milligrams. Just to put this even a little bit more real world. When I have food at night, I'll sometimes put a little black pepper, a little bit of Himalayan sea salt on my food. And I've got a pepper cracker, natural pepper corns, and I've got, sea salt, fresh Himalayan sea salt. Okay, not fresh, but obviously Himalayan sea salt. It's been dried for thousands of years. And so when I add that, how much pepper do you think you're adding on your meat, fish, chicken, pasta, whatever you're eating, right? Like, maybe for pepper, if you're doing it, if you really love pepper, maybe what, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon? If you really love pepper, 1 teaspoon, right? Like, maybe. Well, how do you think you'd feel if you added over 100 teaspoons of pepper to that meal? Do you think that might cause inflammation? Yeah, so do I, right? So imagine giving a mouse or a human 100 teaspoons of pepper. That's why it causes such irritation in the gut. Of course. But 1/2 teaspoon? No, it can actually enhance absorption. So we have to understand, it's always about the dosage. If you ate 10 pounds of meat, you would be hurting, right? If you ate 10 pounds of broccoli, you would be hurting. So we have to just understand and be careful of listening to people just spout off on social media, and everybody takes it as, oh, wow, this person knows something that nobody else does. And so I didn't know that. I looked into it. I'm like, well, yeah, I've read the same study. This person is deriving that information. No, nobody's taking that much. Like, that's why they do it in rats. You don't want to kill a human by giving them 100 plus teaspoons of black pepper. Anyway, sometimes I just have to bring these things up so that when you hear these wild accusations, that you don't take it at face value, that you do the research as well. I'll link up the research for you today at stephencabral.com/2562, along with the Grail Galleria test, along with TrueAge, along with the bioperine study. And then I just wanted to give you one more today. I know for most people, it's not yet summertime, right, where they are. Maybe our friends in Australia, yes. But what I want to share with you is that there seems to be a new sunscreen that is being developed, a natural sunscreen. And it is the combination of bentonite clay and zeolite, which is really fascinating. And what the study is actually called production of a novel mineral-based sun lotion for protecting the skin from biohazards of electromagnetic radiation in the UV region. All it means is UV radiation from the sun. That's basically it. And so they're creating commercially available suntan lotions that contain bentonite clay and zeolite to essentially absorb the UV rays and not allow them to get deeper into the body or cause a sunburn, right? So really interesting. So I wanted to share this with you. I have not even seen one of these particular types of suntan lotions for my family. If we're in the sun at the beach for a long period of time, we'll add some non-nanoparticle zinc oxide suntan lotion. We use Badger and other companies as well. All the companies that I think are great are at stephencabral.com/research. That goes for everything there. Water filters, shower filters, etc. But I wanted to ask you, if you know of and you've used before a good bentonite and zeolite mineral suntan lotion, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd love to be able to check it out. I'll use it this summer when or on vacation, because I know a lot of people are going on vacation for February, March, April school vacation for kids as well. And so you might be picking one up as well. So let us know. Wanted to hand that out to the community. Pretty great research on it, and certainly want to give it a shot. So thanks everybody for tuning into today's Friday review. I appreciate you. Thank you. Of course, if this show is helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at EquiLife, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquiLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.